What up, guys? Your boy Quake back with a brand new episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, number 321, powered by the one and only Golden Eagle Energy Drink. Get your Golden Eagle Energy Drinks at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. That's drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. They've sponsored the podcast, so check them out for showing us love. I recorded an episode for Monday's time when I usually drop the podcast, Mondays and Thursdays, but I had some family stuff come up where it's been draining my time, something that's very serious that's happened in my family, so I haven't had time to do stuff with the podcast. Basically, I have an editor on the podcast. He takes care of the stuff, so usually the podcast goes up like normal, and I don't really have to worry about the editing part of it. I just record it, send him the clips, and it's done. But I had a portion on there where you'll hear it on today's episode. I have a portion on there where I'm talking about young Dolph's murder trial. The portions that I want to put on the main YouTube channel, not the podcast channel, which is Diverse Mentality, that main channel, I'll usually edit that portion of the podcast and post it on the main channel. Sometimes, it just depends on, how things go. So I told, my editor, hey, I'm going to, work on this portion. You do the rest, and then, we'll combine the clips and just make it like a normal podcast like it usually is. But I just never had time. A lot of personal things came up that were very serious and just didn't have the time to do it. Since we're already, into the next episode already in terms of scheduling, I'm just going to combine all the episodes. Those two episodes that are supposed to be coming out into one. So this podcast can be fairly long. I think maybe 2 hours. I don't know. I could be wrong, but it's going to be, pretty long. And it's going to combine, Monday's episode with right now Thursday's episode. So yeah, just enjoy it. Not really much has changed in terms of news. So everything that I talk about has been, the same. Nothing really has changed. So yeah, let's get into the news. And first, we're going to talk about Rich Homie Quan's death. And there is updates on, what caused his death. Let's go over the article. Rich Homie Quan's death has officially been ruled an accident, as the cause has been confirmed by the Fulton County Medical Examiner. According to the medical examiner's report obtained by TMZ on Tuesday, October 1st, the Type of Way rapper's death was a result of a toxic mix of fentanyl, alprazolam, codeine, and promethazine. The report also noted he showed no signs of trauma. There you go. Which it wasn't a surprise. Usually when you mix certain type of drugs, it can kill you. So I don't know if he willingly took all that, or was it laced, like the Mac Miller situation. If it was laced and they find out, something like that happened, then there's got to be somebody held accountable for that. The drug dealer that sold them the laced drugs is going to face some time, as they're probably going to find out if it is that. And, he's going to, whoever is whoever sold him the drugs is going to be facing some type of consequences for that, just like in the Mac Miller situation. But we don't know. We have no idea. They're saying it was just an accident, which it is, because, how is he supposed to know that something's laced? We'll see what happens moving forward. Rest in peace to him, and condolences to his family and friends. He did drop a song and a music video with that song called Song Cry, which is actually pretty good track. So go ahead and check it out. That's the first posthumous release of his career. I know his dad said he had a lot of music and that he was gearing up to drop an album. So I'm sure this year they're still going to probably push forward with that. I think it's important to still, like the Pop Smoke situation, I think that was 50 coming into that situation and actually, executing Pop Smoke's vision was the best thing that could have been done, because now you're executing the person's vision, and on two, you're capitalizing on, at least, which is kind of a weird kind of thing to say of somebody that died, you're capitalizing off their death, but that's what you're doing. It's fresh in people's minds. They're going to miss him. Why not, execute their vision? He had a plan to drop an album in the summer. They did that. They executed the plan. They didn't get, 50 was like, don't get sad about the situation. Yes, it's sad, but execute whatever his vision was. And 80% of that album was done, so they just had to fit in some pieces, about 20%, and it was a huge, major success. That's what Pop Smoke would have wanted. He put in all that hard work and was supposed to finalize the album, then just ended up, getting killed. That's unfortunate. But that's the same, I think, any of these type of situations, which is easier said than done on my end, right? I don't know if I was in that situation, how I would react. If I had an artist that died or something like that was really close to me. It's a different 50. Luckily, wasn't really too close to Pop Smoke, so you can kind of look at it from a different point of view versus the people that were close to him and being sad and depressed. That's why you kind of need somebody that can give you a point of view that's outside of things. So with Pop Smoke, that situation, it turned out to be really good because that album, in a lot of people's eyes, is a really great album. I really enjoyed it. And it did a lot of numbers. It was still on the charts for so long, and it's gone double platinum, I believe, right now. So it was a great execution. I think they should do the same thing with Rich Homie Quan and execute whatever vision he had. If his dad knows, if he was planning on releasing an album this year, execute on that vision because that's what they would have wanted. That's what they planned. It's good to do what the person has planned. If you have, if you knew 100% that's what they were planning to do, because if you're just doing stuff just to get, monetization gain and stuff like that, then obviously that's corny. And that's what I felt the second Pop Smoke album was. That was just like, okay, we got a bunch of random tracks here. Let's just compile a bunch of stuff and hope that people will enjoy this. And that second album was horrendous. I think there was maybe a track or two that was good, but other than that, that second album was terrible. Same with XXXTentacion. They're like pushing these albums after all these years, and it's like, bro, just I think posthumously, depending on how much music the artist recorded, max do 2 albums. Same with Tupac's posthumous releases. Like, they were just stretching that shit out. And I know Tupac recorded a lot of music, but at a certain point, it's like you cannot stretch. At a certain point, it just looks like you're milking a dead cow. Or you're beating a dead horse. Sorry, I was milking a skinny cow. Let's just say that. And then beating a dead horse. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted. I'll definitely check out the project if it drops because, I've been a pretty good fan of Rich Homie Quan. I've kept up with his music for quite some time now. Updates on the YSL Rico trial, which seems like the longest trial I've ever talked about on this podcast, but let's go over it. Young Thug's motion for mistrial in his long-running Rico trial has been denied by Judge Paige Reese Whitaker. While that is a setback for the YSL rapper, Whitaker also slammed the prosecution for how they are presenting their case against Thugger, who they accuse of being the head of a criminal street gang. Let's check out what the judge said. Let's see here.
Mistrial is appropriate, and I'm asking.
I can't figure out what it is. If it's disingenuous, if it is that, I don't want to malign the prosecutor standing in front of me right now, so I'm not going to say the possible things that it could be, but it is baffling to me that somebody with the number of years of experience that you have, time after time after time, continues to seemingly purposefully hide the ball to the extent you possibly can for as long as you possibly can. And I really don't want to believe that it is purposeful. But honestly, after a certain number of times, you start to wonder how it could be anything but that, unless it is just that you are so unorganized that you are throwing this case together as you try it. And I am sorry to say that, but this case is being made much more difficult for everybody because of the haphazard way in which it is being presented. I'm going to take a recess for a few minutes. I'll have a ruling when I get back.
Damn, son, where'd you find this? She was frustrated like a motherfucker. But yeah, this is the longest running courtroom saga in Georgia state history. It began in November 2023. That's about to be 1 year of a trial. What the fuck? I've lost track of what this even is anymore. And we've been reporting on it since it started. I don't even know what's going on anymore. I've lost that much track. If you look at the young Dolph murder trial, 4 or 5 days, actually 4 days, done, finished, life in prison. Hey, this guy did it. It's that simple. What the fuck is going on here? I get there's more people involved in this, and it's a whole Rico trial, right? Ricos are way bigger than a murder trial. But come on, man. Like, this stuff has just gotten, like, I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm so lost in this whole trial that at this point, they could say Young Thug, farted on somebody in court, I don't know. People would, I believe. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. That's all I'm saying. I have no idea what the fuck is going on in this thing. I've lost track of everything, even though I'm reporting on it weekly. I just don't know. It's so confusing. So much stuff is happening. But she has every right to be mad, and they denied, obviously, the mistrial, even though the judge got pissed off. So, yeah, it's no mistrial. It's going to continue, and hopefully there's an end to this. Hopefully sometime they decide, hey, this guy's guilty or not. It's really that simple. But we'll keep our eyes posted. Speaking of lawsuits and trials, DaBaby has decided to settle the battery lawsuit over that LA homeowner, that was talking about being racist and stuff like that. So let's go over the article. DaBaby has settled the lawsuit with a Los Angeles homeowner who accused the rapper of battering him during a racially charged incident. The controversial rapper previously jail time in the criminal case. What the fuck are, like, this is what I'm saying, man, these writers. The controversial rapper previously faced jail time in the criminal case over the assault and has now settled the civil lawsuit with Gary Pager. According to TMZ, DaBaby and Pager mutually agreed to a settlement that will end the suit after several years of action. Pager owned the Los Angeles property featuring Stunna for Vegas music video Plea You Lay with DaBaby. In his lawsuit, Pager claimed that DaBaby beat, punched, spat on, threatened, shoved, and robbed him while filming the video at his property in December 2020. The fight, which was captured on camera, stemmed from Pager accusing the video shoot of violating their agreement after he was told only 12 people would be present on the property. Pager says he discovered over 40 people on set and attempted to shut down the video shoot, which is when DaBaby became violent and knocked out his tooth. The North Carolina native was also accused of stealing items and kitchenware and causing damage to the property. DaBaby claimed that Pager, who is white, used the N-word during the confrontation, and while the homeowner admitted to using the racial slur, he had argued it was not relevant to the legal dispute. Well, of course, it looks like, it looks like he had to do a settlement agreement. So DaBaby did lose this, because once you settle something, that means that you're paying up. So dumb, man. It's like the Quavo slap. It just doesn't make any sense. That's it for that lawsuit, though. I don't think we're going to be hearing much about it moving forward. And this made me laugh, and this would have pissed me off if I was the person paying this. But let's go over the article. Quavo has been hit with a nearly $700,000 fine for slapping a hotel employee in Las Vegas in 2018. That Las Vegas employee at a hotel is one lucky motherfucker, man. That's a slap I'm willing to take. I'm willing to get slapped by somebody for $700,000. I'll do that any day. Bring it on. I'll be willing to get slapped 10 times, 20 times for $700,000. I don't care. Give me your hardest slaps, man. I'll have to suck it up for 20 times. That's how much I'm willing to do for $700,000. That's insane. On Wednesday, September 25th, 8 News Now confirmed a jury ordered the former Migos rapper to pay Antonio Henry, a former valet for the Encore Hotel and Casino, for injuring him both physically and emotionally. The trial went on for multiple weeks, with the jury ultimately deciding to award Henry $682,000 in compensatory and punitive damages. First part, Quavo and his legal team argued that Henry was not injured and instead was looking for a hip-hop lotto ticket. Hey, even if he is, fuck it, man. You slap somebody, you can't be treating valet people like that, man. I don't care what happened. The physical exchange went down after Migos performed at Draya's nightclub in April 2018. According to The Blast, the group and Cardi B headed back to the Encore after the show, and while in the valet, Quavo was reportedly asked to move his car. From there, words were exchanged and a physical fight is said to have broken out. Cardi was reportedly rushed to safety as the altercation broke out. The entire group was reportedly kicked out of the hotel where they were staying after the brawl. In the video footage, security can be seen scurrying around as onlookers observe the aftermath. You know what's crazy, man? Quavo's been the one that's had most of the temper in Migos crew. And the sad part is the person that got killed is the one that has the least temper, the one that causes the least problems, which is Takeoff. That's very sad, man. Offset and Quavo, no disrespect to them, but, Quavo's, man, you should see him. He's been in a lot of videos where he just has the temper. He's got a temper problem, man. And I think Quavo really lives probably in his mind that he's the one that caused Takeoff to get killed, because I'm sure it was Quavo that started something in that whole, thing. And has anybody gotten arrested for that? situation, by the way. I haven't heard any updates. I don't know if I was keeping track but yeah, that's crazy. I don't know. I haven't really heard much anything of like, somebody getting arrested and serving time for killing Takeoff. But Quavo's been known, like, there's so many video footages of him just losing his temper and doing things to people. So shout out to Antonio Henry, man. Great come up for you, bro. Like, round of applause. You deserve that. You got slapped. You can't treat people like that, man. Especially as a celebrity, it's easy lick for people, bro. This is. I'm sure Antonio probably didn't mean to like agitate him or get him pissed off, but this is what a lot of people do. They'll try to get celebrities pissed off so that they can do something to them and then they can sue them. I think Tony Yayo talks about it in the Vlad interviews a lot. He's like, G-Unit got sued left and right about things because they would just smack people and do things. And 50 was like, what the fuck y'all doing? Y'all just giving away money. That's basically what you're doing. Yeah, but that's a long time away, man. 2018. So it happened in April of 2018. What did it say here? April. Yeah, 2018 till now he finally got paid. We're talking 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 5 years, over 5 years later. Hey, fuck it, man. That's some good chunk of change, man. $682,000. Like that is life-changing money, whether people want to believe it or not. If you know what to do with the money, that is life-changing money. $682,000 can be, bro, you can just buy a 4-unit complex. Charge people $1,000 per rent. For the rest of your life, you will literally be making $4,000 a month, at least until the tenants leave and stuff. Then you have to adjust and obviously add people in and stuff like that. But for the most part, out of expenses and stuff that break in the 4-unit kind of a complex, whatever, apartment, whatever the hell you want to call it, some things are going to break here and there, but you're going to be, walking away with most of the time per month $4,000 for the rest of your life. I mean, you just have that, you'll fix it up, you'll rent it out to people, maybe raise the rent if the average rent raises. I'm sure you could even charge, depending on the location, you can probably charge $1,300, $1,400 per rent per person, $1,500 potentially. And that's life changing, man. You'll have residual. You'll just have income coming in. You're not really doing anything besides maintaining a little 4-unit apartment complex. For that amount of money, you could buy that cash, and you get land and property, bro. So like, there's a lot of like things that you could do with $682,000. You could take that $682,000, put into some stocks. It'll be a slower return on your money, obviously, like S&P 500s and stuff like that. But that will eventually turn into millions and millions of dollars. Year after year after year, it'll rise up, and you'll get your But I know most people, when they get this type of money, they want to clear out their debt. That's the first thing you should do. If you ever get this type of money, if you ever stumble upon some money, whether you get it inherited or you win in a lotto or anything like that, man, the first thing to do is pay off your debts as much as you can, because the debts is what's going to weigh you down in terms of interest rates and stuff. You have a car, you have credit cards, even your house. If you have enough money to pay the house, pay all that. So that way your like monthly expenses are really low. And then just don't live beyond your means, man. People get like this type of money and just start fucking flexing and living like crazy. And the next thing you know, it's all gone and they're back to living paycheck to paycheck on a 9-to-5 job. If you stumble across this type of money, you can do something with it. You can do something with $100,000, not let alone $682,000. You can do a lot with $100,000 if you know what you're doing. But yeah, shout out to this guy, man. Great come up. That's a slap in the face for Quavo for sure, because that would suck. I would be sick in court if I had to cough up $700,000 for smacking somebody. But that should be a lesson learned, man. Watch your temper. You're a celebrity. You can't just go around smacking people, man. That's not how the world works. And, who knows? I never saw the video footage, but I'm sure the valet probably never did anything wrong to him anyways. That's why probably the jurors are like, yo, pay him his money because you acted out like crazy. But, yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted. I don't think anything's going to happen out of this anymore. But Antonio Henry, congratulations to you, man. Salute to you, because that's a hell of a come up. It looks like Drake's final sales numbers for his tour, It's All a Blur tour, becomes the highest grossing tour of all time. The numbers are astronomical. So let's go over the article. Drake's final ticket sales for It's All a Blur tour have been tabulated and, as expected, have blown past the record for the top grossing hip-hop tour to date. According to an Instagram post by Genius, after selling out each of the 80 shows on the North American run, It's All a Blur grossed a total of, get ready, $320.5 million. Along with the grand total, the post also shared a screenshot of the breakdown of the ticket sales at each of the 39 venues Drake played along the way. All in all, a total of 1.3 million tickets were sold. Now, I want to say something here because I actually saw this a while ago, like this stat sheet. I don't know how real this is, man. That's the thing. I know Genius posted, so I guess Genius has some type of, I don't know, credibility, but I saw this post, and it's from a guy named Aubrey Attorney. Like, he literally tagged the photo. So I don't know how legit. I'm not knocking, by the way, I'm not knocking Drake by saying that. I'm not saying that Drake can't pull these numbers because I wholeheartedly believe he can pull these numbers. That's nothing that's far-fetched. His tickets, just the tickets to buy his concert is fucking expensive. So he sold, what, 1.3 million, 1,325,371 tickets sold. Everywhere he sold out. The average revenue was $4 million per show, which is like fucking asinine. The average ticket price was $241. If you look at 50 Cent's tour, which is one of the top 5 grossing tours of all time right now, he did 140 million, but his average ticket price was like 60 bucks, I think, somewhere around there. So I think maybe it might have been 80, somewhere around there. Regardless, Drake's is like 3 times that at $241. So you make a lot more money. 50 Cent actually sold out roughly around, like, he sold as much tickets as Drake did, potentially more. Because Drake did 1.3 million in his North America run. 50 did around the same amount. He sold roughly over 1 million tickets already, 1.1 million. But he just didn't charge as much. He made it a lot more affordable for people to go. I mean, sometimes there were tickets like these tickets are like far away. You're not like really close, but they were selling for like 50, 60 bucks. So, obviously Drake is a more relevant artist, so it makes sense that Drake can tax an astronomical number for tickets. But yeah, they broke down all these numbers. I don't know. I saw this a while ago. I never reported on it because I was just like, I don't know how real this is. Like, I want to see touring data. I believe it's called touring data. Let me see. I think their Twitter is called touring data. They got like a whole website. I want to see them like post because I trust them more when it comes to like ticket sales and stuff. They actually have like websites. They have, they have where like the source is from, all that stuff. So I'm not knocking the Drake thing, but I don't know for sure if it's a real number. Let me see. It's all a blur, his tour. See, they already tallied up the 21 Savage numbers, right? And this is when 2023 is 2024. But this is out of 50 tickets out of 80. The one that's in the Genius reports the whole 80 tickets, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, they report all the 80 tickets. But the ones that have been reported by touring data, which I trust a lot more, have reported 50 out of the 80 tickets. But out of the 50 tickets sold, not mentioning the rest of the 30 tickets that they didn't report yet. Not tickets, but I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about, shows. Sorry, I keep saying tickets. But out of the 80 shows, 50 of the shows were reported, and 30 weren't yet, based off of touring data. So I saw that 80 out of 80 reported shows, and Genius posted it, but I saw that a while ago. I just didn't trust it. I trust more reliable sources. But if you look, just out of the 50 shows that were reported, he made $215 million, which already puts him in the top 5, I think top 3 tours of all time. So the average revenue here says $4.3 million. So, I mean, if you just put average, right, per show, yeah, he clears that amount of money. Like, literally, he clears, I think, let me see, what was the money that he cleared on here? $320.5 million. Yeah, the maths. So I don't think it's a crazy number to think that he could do, because I think he could do that number. But I think, assuming that this is real is out of the question. Some guy clearly that posted this as a Drake stan. Aubrey's Attorney. Come on, man. At Twitter, like, that's their at. So I'm not knocking it. Round of applause to Drake. I'm just saying it's not officially confirmed. Of course, this is no surprise, though. Drake has like, I think 4 or 5 out of the 10 like top grossing hip hop tours of all time. I think Eminem's the only one that if he decided, hey, I'm going to do a whole tour in America, I'm going to do worldwide as well, I'm just going to do this like 50 did, the final lap, where I'm dedicating, the next year to just doing a bunch of shows. Eminem could generate these type of numbers. I hope. I maybe even beat Drake. I don't know. I'm not saying he would, but he would get really close. I think Eminem could get to like 250, 280, 300 million, maybe even more than Drake. Maybe he can get to 350, 400 million. If you look at the anger management tour that they did a while ago, let me see, top 10. So yeah, you got Drake is in Drake is in a lot of these. You got Drake at number 10 with Would You Like a Tour. That shit grossed 66 million. You got Drake again at number 5. That shit grossed 81 million. You got Drake again in the 4th spot with Aubrey and the Three Migos tour. That grossed 103 million. And then you got Drake again with It's All a Blur tour, which is out of just 50 reported shows, he's already number 1 at 215 million. Kendrick Lamar, the Big Steppers, did 110 million. And then 50, they didn't update this on this actual post. They reported 92 out of 97. 50 was actually the number 2 spot, but then Travis Scott got his updated as well. So that knocked, 50 out to like the number 3, and it knocked Kendrick Lamar down another spot. Yeah, so 50's in the top 5. Kendrick Lamar's in the top 5. Travis Scott is in the top 5. And Drake is in the top 5 of biggest gross in hip-hop tours. So if Eminem were to dedicate, a whole year or whatever time, 8 months to touring, he would definitely be in the top 5. You'd probably knock out Kendrick Lamar, because Kendrick Lamar, out of all of them, is the lowest one in the top 5 now, at least. 50 is at number 4. I believe Drake is at number 1. Number 2 is Travis Scott, I think. Number 3, actually 50 might be number 3. I don't know. 50 is number 3 or number 4. I know he's not the 5th one, but he's in that spot. Because these numbers shift, man. Once they report these new fucking numbers, they just change all the time. So let me see the list of the highest grossing hip tours of all time, not even just hip-hop. God damn, Coldplay. Yeah, but they did a 3-year run. That's insane. They did 164 shows. Coldplay generated 1 billion, basically 1,059,000,000. I don't know how to say this. 1,059,000,000. I don't know. $1,059,000,000. Yeah. And then you got Taylor Swift, the Eras tour. Damn, she only did 60 shows and she generated $1 billion. Holy shit. The average gross, average show did 17 million. We talk about hip hop like it's fucking amazing, but damn, these motherfuckers doing insane numbers, bro. Wow. Michael Jackson, bad. Dude, Michael Jackson, bruh, this motherfucker did 307 million back then. In the fucking 1987. Oh, Michael Jackson was doing numbers right now. Adjusted for inflation, this motherfucker be doing $1 billion tours. Easy. Where's the hip hop, man? Always grows tours, 2010s. Yeah, Eminem needs to really do like one. I want to see Eminem live. I've never seen Eminem live. I would love for him to do one more tour. Just one last hoorah. Haley's married. Your kids are good to go right now, so you're not really going to miss out on much. Just do one last hoorah. You're in your 50s right now. Get your last chance while you can, because the older you get, the harder this shit's going to be. But, it's hard to convince. 50s try to convince Eminem to do tours for a minute, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know if this is like official numbers, but it damn near seems like official numbers. I mean, if you just do the math, he's around there. So he is the number 1, regardless of whether this is official numbers or not. Drake is the number 1 highest gross in hip hop tour of all time. Obviously, 21 Savage and J. Cole are part of that tour, so I don't know if that really counts as like them being part of that number. But hey, they're a part of that tour. I'm sure fans of them came out there. But it's kind of crazy to see that like hip hop numbers versus like pop mainstream, like Taylor Swift and Coldplay, like they're blowing these out the water. Like Drake doing 300 million is astronomical, amazing numbers. But you got Coldplay doing $1 billion, you got Taylor Swift doing $1 billion, like that's insane. But I'm sure if Drake added more dates, because he did 80 shows, I'm sure you could do. Actually, Taylor did 60. Never mind. Taylor did 60 and did like 17 million a show, which is fucking insane. What was like the average Taylor Swift ticket price? Sorry, guys, I'm going like Taylor Swift ticket price, the average price of these motherfuckers. Damn, son, where'd you find this? These prices are astronomical. You're looking at $1,300 off the bat, bro. Off the bat. Oh, you get the worst seats? Them bitches is $1,400. You looking at the worst seats are $1,400. I don't know if these is resells, which I'm pretty sure they are. Damn, getting up closer, paying $5,000, $5,000. I don't know. I never listened to Taylor Swift's music, so I don't understand the hype around her, man. I really don't. I don't think I ever will, because her music just ain't my cup of tea, but hey. I know it's wild to say that because I just said I don't listen to her music, so how would I know if it's not my cup of tea? I've heard a couple songs. I'm just not into that type of stuff. But yeah, round of applause to Drake. Top 5 people, obviously Drake, Kendrick, in terms of tours, 50, Travis Scott, and I believe might be Drake again, or I don't fucking know, man. These numbers change so many times. I think Nicki Minaj is going up there too. She's like She's doing her tours. I think she's like number 7 or number 6, and she still hasn't had hers updated fully. So she might be in the top 5. It might be Drake, Travis Scott, 50, Kendrick, then Nicki, I think. Or it might be maybe Nicki overturns Kendrick. Who knows? But these things change. Titles change. Kendrick Lamar at one point had the highest grossing hip-hop tour, but Drake overtook that, and, so on and so forth. But, yeah, we'll see what happens on the official numbers. I think this is basically it, but we'll keep our eyes posted. Chris Brown is probably shivering in his boots, right? Because similar to Surviving R. Kelly, I don't know what company this is. We're going to be talking about it, but some companies looking to make a documentary on the abuse Chris Brown, the history of abuse Chris Brown has had with women. Let's go over the article. Chris Brown is set to be the subject of a new documentary arriving next month, which will focus on allegations of violence against the superstar singer throughout his career. The Hollywood Reporter announced on Monday, September 30th, the investigation discoveries Chris Brown, A History of Violence, will premiere on October 27th, kicking off the network's 3rd annual No Excuse for Abuse campaign. In a trailer that was released, a woman says in a voiceover, Chris Brown's an amazing and talented musician, but let's call a thing a thing. He's an abuser of women consistently, unapologetically. While people have knowledge of his incident with Rihanna in 2009, as well as alleged incidents of sexual assault over the years, the doc claims to have another alleged victim ready to speak as well. In a statement, the film's producer said, with expert and cultural commentary layered throughout, the documentary provides thoughtful reflections into each survivor's experience and the psychological destruction in the aftermath of their abuse. I just watched the trailer of the actual documentary, and it looks honestly interesting. But here's the thing. The Rihanna incident did happen, right? And I'm not excusing it, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, we know what Chris Brown did was wrong. But Rihanna actually admitted that she started a lot of it and that she put his hands on him, and then he retaliated. So on both sides, I know there's like a double standard when it comes to this, but on both sides, keep your hands to yourself. As a female, if you put your hands on a male and the male, after getting hit a few times, decides to retaliate, I honestly don't feel bad for the female. As a female, you need to know that most men are stronger than you. And if you put your hands on them, some will just snap and put their hands right back on you. Some are more controlling or can get out the situation and move away. But if you're stuck in an area and you're getting beat by a female, there's only so much a male should be able to take before they can retaliate. And all honesty, everybody should just keep their hands to themselves. That's just the reality situation. But we know, not everything's perfect in this world. So for the Rihanna thing, based off what I know, based off what Rihanna has said too, based off of just, history in it, seems like both have taken accountability and they both moved on from the situation. Now with Karrueche and these other females, I have no idea. So they're probably going to explore those more than the Rihanna incident, because most people know about the Rihanna incident. Most people know that, hey, they've both taken accountability and they both moved on from it. But yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see if this does damage like the Surviving R. Kelly, because there's something going on here with these documentaries. When the Surviving R. Kelly thing happened, it struck gold and it got R. Kelly arrested. Why not do more documentaries of people like this and get more people arrested? That's really the goal of this. And if, Chris Brown actually did a lot of these things and there's proof and he gets, I know with the Karrueche thing, I don't know the full details of that, so I can't really speak on it. But I know he has, she has a restraining order on him. So clearly something's went bad there. But we'll see. It comes out October 27th. So that's only what, I want to say 25 days, 24 days away. So we'll see what happens when it comes out. R. Kelly has officially spoken out against the Diddy situation. Not against it, but basically for it. So let's go over the article. R. Kelly has perhaps unsurprisingly defended Diddy following his arrest for sex trafficking and racketeering. Kelly, who himself is currently behind bars after being convicted of sex trafficking and an assortment of other sex crimes, has claimed that Puffy's arrest is part of a wider conspiracy against the rap mogul. Here we go. Radar Online claims to have spoken to the incarcerated singer about Diddy's case, though the conversation could not be independently verified and no audio of the chat is available. They claim Kelly said, "I don't believe none of this shit. You could tell me about Puffy. You could tell me about anybody. You could tell me on the news, the weather, The sky is blue. I'm not going to believe this shit. The R&B legend also allegedly said that the celebrities are being hunted by federal authorities, with Diddy being targeted because of the way he flaunted his wealth. He purportedly added, "That shit is crazy. Motherfuckers out here laughing and making comedian jokes and doing all the other shit on the radio and everything else, but they ass could be next. That's what's so fucked up about it. They so stupid they don't even realize the moves that's going on." Diddy is currently being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. Yeah. Which previously housed R. Kelly for some time before he moved to a prison in North Carolina. Yeah. You know, I've heard some people say it's kind of like a conspiracy theory, right? I've heard, even 50 said that he believes a lot of stuff that happened to Diddy was because he was going against the liquor companies. He wanted independence from them and, wanted to do his thing, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing. Diddy, there is literally solid proof he put his hands on Cassie. So at the bare minimum, he is an abuser. He's a domestic violence abuser at the bare minimum. But here's the thing. We're going to be talking about this a little bit later. If there are sex workers sending videos to the feds exposed, and the feds found tapes and stuff of freak-offs, then what is this conspiracy theory? Are we going to see these tapes? Probably never. But in court, they might, if they do, what's going to be crazy? If they do like video cameras in court while the trial happens, because we'll talk about this a little bit later too. Diddy wants to testify and go to trial and all that stuff. If they have cameras on that and then they show like some of this stuff, bro, it's going to be insane. Like it will explode the world. But here's the thing. If you have all these allegations around you, there's no way that it's a conspiracy theory because it's been happening for too long. But people are the reason why they say it's a conspiracy theory is because it's happening now. Like what took forever? If he was actually doing these things, why didn't they get him back in 2011 or 2008 or whatever, The Fed said, hey, we started looking into him in 2008. I'm sure it was after Keefe D made the claim that, he got hired by Diddy to kill Tupac. I'm sure that was the moment because that's when Keefe D actually snitched to the police and confessed everything, about being involved in Tupac's murder. So when the police got that, they're like, okay, Diddy allegedly put out $1 million hit. Okay, let's look at this guy. There has to be something. There's no way that there's stories about Shine getting shot in the club, but really it was Diddy that shot it. There's, all kinds of weird allegations and stories. Let's look into this guy. And then they started trying to gather evidence, and I'm sure a lot of times they couldn't do it, because it's hard sometimes when you're moving a certain way. But once Cassie did her lawsuit, once a bunch of people started suing Diddy, then all the stuff piles up, and the feds are like, okay, there's something here. Let's see. Now we know victims. Now we can reach out to victims and talk to them and say, hey, are you willing to testify? Are you willing to put this monster away? And if they actually, if Diddy actually did that stuff to them, then of course they will. They'll be like, hey, this is finally my day of judgment to destroy Diddy. So I don't know how much of a conspiracy theory that is. I do believe that some things are plotted and planned to get people out the way. I get that. Is there a potential this is a conspiracy theory? I give it a 20% chance. I really don't think once I saw the Cassie thing, I think a lot of it was solidified to me that, hey, this stuff was real. If Kid Cudi said, hey, my car actually got blown up. If this person say, hey, this actually happened to me. Hey, if this person saying, hey, I have tapes of this stuff right here. It's like, at what point does this become a conspiracy theory or does it become facts? But I know people are going to argue it. They're going to comment. They're going to be like, oh, this and that. I get it. But at the same time, I don't get it. If you see evidence of these things, then, and regardless of what Cassie did, right? The lawyer's trying to spin the video footage of him in a hotel beating Cassie. Oh, Cassie cheated on him. Diddy caught Cassie, on her phone sexting with another man or whatever the lawyer said for Diddy's lawyer said about the situation. That's why Diddy lost. He was in a fit of rage, and that's why he put her hands. Doesn't matter. Doesn't excuse the situation. You don't put your hands on somebody. Doesn't matter. Whether you cheat or not, doesn't matter. You're damn near a billionaire. You're basically a billionaire. Move better. Why would you hide the tape? If it happened to mine, say, hey, you know what? I did it. We got into an argument. I put my hands on her. I apologize. It was a down moment, a bad moment. You should have addressed it back in 2016 or whenever the video footage was taken. I think it was 2016. Should have addressed it then. He should have been like, hey, security has the footage. They leak it. They sell it to TMZ. Video footage comes out. 2016. You should have been like, hey, I fucked up. That's what I would have been like. Hey, I caught her cheating. This is no excuse, though, but I messed up. I got in a fit of rage. I was in my emotions. Even if he was drunk, whatever the case may be. But, hey, that's a whole different topic. But R. Kelly, of course, is going to defend this. R. Kelly is going through the same shit. he believes what he's going through is a conspiracy theory. But you look at all the documents, all the evidence that they found at his house, they found little ropes and shit under fucking boxing arenas. Ropes of somebody, like it showed evidence of somebody tied to one of the supporting poles, like a female under there, just being tied and against their will. Like, that's fucked up. That is the most evil shit you could be doing. Well, not the most evil, but very evil shit you could be doing. So, you know, of course, R. Kelly's going to defend this, man. That's because he's in the same boat. And he's going to throw this conspiracy theory out there. And there's going to be people that actually believe it. And, oh, my God, R. Kelly was supposed to purchase CBS and Diddy was supposed to help him purchase it. And they were supposed to run the media. And all of a sudden, like, it's all some bullshit, guys. You know, is there a possibility that there's a conspiracy theory behind this? Yeah, I could see the liquor thing, that angle a little bit where, like, hey, Diddy, you know, fought back against these liquor companies. They had issues with that, blah, blah, blah. And maybe they got him the fuck up out of there. Maybe that did. Maybe that agitated them. They got billions and billions of dollars. Maybe they said, hey, let's see if we can maybe get this guy's, you know, dirt on this guy. That probably did it. Hey, but here's the thing. If you have no dirt, they can't find anything. If you never did anything wrong, then, hey, they can pay as much as they want to find dirt. But if you never did anything wrong, that's what I'm saying. If you never did these things, it'd be very hard to conspire to get this guy out of these liquor companies and to get him out of here, because you would have to find solid evidence of that shit. But, hey, it is what it is. R. Kelly, rot in prison like you're supposed to, and Diddy, we'll see what happens with you. Suge Knight has decided to call out basically 3 of some of the biggest hip-hop names for not speaking out on the Diddy allegations. Let's go over the article. Suge Knight has called out a number of high-profile hip-hop figures such as Jay-Z, Dr. Dre, and Snoop Dogg for not yet publicly commenting on the sex trafficking allegations against Diddy. Speaking to Chris Como on News Nation from prison, the Death Row Records co-founder claimed that various people in the rap industry knew what was going on regarding Puff's alleged criminal behavior. He then spoke out against those who have stayed silent, saying, I don't care if it's T.I., I don't care if it's Rick Ross, I don't care if it's Jay, I don't care if it's Snoop, I don't care if it's The Game, I don't care if it's Dre. Nobody is stepping up. Hey, what about 50? Come on, Suge. The rappers mentioned by Knight have all worked with Diddy or been seen with him in social settings such as at the Rock Nation brunch or one of the Bad Boys' boss's famous parties. Let's play the clip.
I feel like they should let Puffy tell his truth. I'm quite sure he's going to expose a lot of people. I'm sure he's going to move forward with it. But I don't think it should be a situation like the Epstein thing where they found him hanging from the ceiling or dead before the truth come out.
Do you think Diddy knows enough that it's a very delicate balance, that maybe investigators will want to know these other names and greatly reduce his exposure to criminality, to time, versus what people would do to keep him quiet?
Number one, I've been knowing him a long time, and we was friends. We're not enemies, but we were friends. He's not a dummy, so he's smart enough to work his magic. On top of that, this man right here, he's been involved with the FBI for most of his career. It's not like he don't have no moves. So I don't think nobody should just count him out. I don't think he gonna lay down and just crawl in the corner and die. He probably going through a lot of shit right now because he probably going through a lot of withdrawals for the drugs. But the industry got him on drugs. And see, they do these things to take control. They're not doing, there's nothing wrong with being gay. If you choose to be gay, that's your preference. But they doing this to people for control. It's a power situation.
Hey, all Suge Knight said is some real shit, man. There's nothing I can really argue with. He's right about these people have voices, they have a platform, but I understand where they're coming from too, because they don't know if Diddy 100% did these things. You know, if he goes to trial, gets sentenced, is accused of it, then I expect Dre, I expect Jay-Z, I expect Snoop Dogg, I expect anyone that had anything to do with Diddy to speak out against him and say, you know, he's a bad person, whatever they have to say. As far as him being on drugs, having withdrawals, he's probably a drug addict. That might be another thing too. Maybe Diddy is a drug addict. That's another, but that doesn't excuse things. Like, I don't understand why people think, oh, because he's a drug addict, he can just blow people's cars up and abuse people and rape them and sex traffic them. Like, no, it doesn't excuse any of that shit. But a lot of people have said when they've seen Diddy, he looked like his eyes were, he looked like he was out of it. He really wasn't focused. which, hey, man, at that point, you get that type of money, you're going to start dabbling in things. And Diddy likes to party a lot. And when Diddy likes to party, you just got to say no. What did Cat Williams say? But yeah, shout out to Suge Knight for doing the interview and speaking out. Really, really cool. We'll see what happens moving forward. Before we continue, I want to give a shout out to Golden Eagle for sponsoring this podcast. Yes, if it wasn't for Golden Eagle, this podcast wouldn't be possible. If you're looking for an energy drink that doesn't tear a hole in your pocket, Golden Eagle energy drink is the one you want to get. Golden Eagle has the smoothest taste with no aftertaste. You don't get acid reflux when you drink it, and you will save a lot of money. So check out Golden Eagle at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. The link is in the description below. And how do you think this podcast would be possible without me having energy to do it? Come on, guys. You guys got to remember this. I need energy to do this stuff, man, because there's a lot of crazy topics. So look how smooth this thing sounds. Look at, oh my God, it's fresh. Look at that Golden Eagle. Look at the can. It's so beautiful too, man. Look at that. That's so fresh, man. So fresh. Golden Eagle energy drink. Go to the link description below. That's drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. Let's continue the episode. And let's talk about Diddy. So there's a lot to go over. I mean, he's had a lot of different allegations and stuff that's coming up now with more new lawsuits. But first, I want to talk about Diddy's attorney. He's been doing like quick little interviews, and he got asked the infamous question about the baby oil. He said, the interviewer asked, hey, what's up with, how do you explain the 1,000 bottles of baby oil? This is what the lawyer had to say.
How do you explain the baby oil and the lubricants? 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
I don't think it was 1,000. I think it was a lot. I mean, there's a Costco right down the street. I think Americans buy in bulk, as we know. This is consensual adults doing what consensual adults do. We can't get so puritanical in this country to think that somehow sex is a bad thing, because if it was, there'd be no more people.
He said there's a Costco down the street and Americans like to buy in bulk. No. Come on, man. This lawyer is fucking trolling. They has to be trolling. There's no way. And I said this in one of my videos. I don't know which video I said it, but I was like, how do you explain 1,000 bottles of baby oil / lubricant? How? There's no explanation for that other than you were doing insane freak-offs. And he talks about it in this. The lawyer says, hey, consensual adults do what consensual adults do. Yeah. Listen, if there was no accusations of Diddy actually trafficking these people and forcing them to do the things that they were doing, then yeah, dude, I have no, judging people in their private lives and what they do. Hey, man, do your thing. That's your life. But it's the fact that there was no consent to these things. That's the problem. Costco responded to that, and this is what they said to TMZ. A Costco spokesperson later told TMZ that the wholesale retailer does not sell or carry baby oil in its U.S. locations. If you search baby oil on Costco's websites, only diapers, wipers, and cleansing gel, powdered milk, car seats, food, and furniture pop up. Yeah. So Costco said, we want no parts of this shit. Keep us the fuck away. We do not sell baby oil, and we definitely don't sell them in bulk to you. I'm sure Diddy was like contacting Johnson & Johnson and saying, yo, y'all got to give me like 1,000 bottles of these. And Johnson & Johnson probably like, what the fuck is going on? But speaking of worse things, he's hit with more legal trouble. Diddy's sex trafficking and racketeering case has taken another twist as footage of one of his alleged freak-offs has reportedly been handed over to federal prosecutors by a male sex worker. According to TMZ, an unnamed sex worker met with prosecutors on Wednesday, September 25th, and signed a proffer agreement, which allows him to offer testimony without the threat of prosecution for any crime he may have been involved in. It's reported that the man engaged in a freak-off with Diddy and an unnamed woman in May 2023, roughly 6 months before the wave of sexual assaults lawsuits against the bad boy boss began. The man is said to have told prosecutors he flew from Atlanta to Miami to meet with Puffy and the woman for the sex session, with the mogul allegedly watching and filming the pair having intercourse. The male sex worker claims to have a copy of the video and has provided it to prosecutors as part of their case against Diddy. Not looking good, man. This is what I mean. As much as you can say, it's a conspiracy that they're trying to take Diddy down, hey, man, this is not... How is there a conspiracy? How can somebody fake a video of you doing weird stuff with people? But the question is here. Listen, if Diddy does this stuff with people, right? He has fun. He likes to pleasure himself in corners while watching other people do their things. As long as everybody is consented to it, then what's the problem? That I have no issue. As long as people consent to it, you guys are grown adults. You guys can do whatever the hell makes you guys happy. But the question here is, did they consent to it? And based off of all these lawsuits, it seems like they didn't. They got drugged up. They got forced in these situations that they didn't want to be in. So that's the argument that's going to be here. And Diddy's lawyers are going to argue, hey, man, these are grown adults. They did their thing. They did whatever they wanted to do, and they had fun doing it. But the prosecutors are going to be like, nah, they didn't consent to this. They got drugged up. They didn't know what the hell was going on. They got forced into these situations. That's basically the gist of this whole trial that's going to happen. Is if they can prove that Diddy actually didn't force these people to do it, then Diddy will be a scot-free, man. You can't lock somebody up for being freaky. You just can't do it. You know, he's freaky, and this is what it is. That's just what he likes to do. Hey, man, wild times. That's Diddy's lawyer speaking out. But then Diddy's lawyer also said that a plea bargain is not going to happen. Well, first, I don't know if the prosecutors even offered a plea bargain. Basically, a plea bargain is like, hey, you know, you give us this information and we'll reduce your time and so on and so forth. Basically, a bargain, you know. But he's saying that it's not going to happen. So let's go over the article. Diddy's attorney has said that a plea bargain is not on the table for the embattled mogul in his sex trafficking and racketeering case. Speaking to TMZ as part of the outlet's new Tubi documentary, The Downfall of Diddy, The Indictment, the bad boy boss attorney Mark Argaffello made the revelation in a clip published on Saturday. Argaffello responded to the question on whether they would be open to a plea bargain. Well, it's not up to me. It's up to Mr. Combs. I don't see it happening because he believes he's innocent. He believes he's innocent. And what's more, he believes he's innocent. He believes he needs to stand up, not just for himself, but for his family and everybody who has been targeted by the federal government. Let's play the clip.
You be open to a plea bargain?
Well, it's not up to me. It's up to Mr. Combs, and I don't see it happening.
Why?
Because he believes he's innocent. He believes he's innocent. And what's more, he believes that he needs to stand up, not just for himself, for his family, and for everybody who's been targeted by the federal government. Mr. Combs feels A, he's innocent, which is why he's not going to plead guilty. B, he's going to be truthful about this case because he wants to portray that to the people who have loved him his whole life. And I think he also feels an obligation to people in general. Maybe it's black people, maybe it's white people, maybe it's anybody who's ever felt aggrieved and targeted by the government. He feels an obligation to those people to say, you know what, maybe I can break the model. You know, maybe I can show the world that a black man can win, you know, in federal court.
So it's not really, 100% confirmed, right, that Diddy will actually take the stand. But, like his lawyer is saying, if he actually believes he's innocent, he will want to take the stand. And most of the time, lawyers advise against that because, usually the person that takes the stand messes up and it goes to a different way where they can ask questions that can, put them in a whole different entanglement and stuff like that. Usually it's a bad thing for the person to take the stand. But me personally, if I was truly innocent in something, I don't give a fuck what the lawyer says. I would take the stand because I need to get my piece out there that, hey, I didn't do this shit. I believe Hurricane Chris, in his murder trial, he took the stand because he was like, I defended myself. I didn't actually go out, seek to kill somebody. So, and he got out, he's free. So, it's a slippery slope, but it's definitely going to go to trial. I don't really see, a settlement, plea bargaining happening. I just don't see it. I do think that it will go to trial and, hey, hopefully it gets broadcasted. That would be beautiful to watch just because it would be very entertaining. And we'd get a lot of details that we wouldn't get if we just got like documents and, word and just, it wouldn't be as crystal clear. That's why the young Dolph, murder trial was good because we could see like very crystal clear, what was going on. But his lawyer also said he's eager to testify. Speaking to TMZ as part of the outlet's new Tubi documentary, the bad boy boss attorney, Mark, said he expects his client to put himself on the hot seat and testify in an attempt to clear his name. He said this, I don't know that I can keep him off the stand. I think he is very eager to tell his story, and I think he will tell every part of his story, including what you've seen on the video. I expect it's going to be explained by the both of us. The video he's referring to was the shocking footage of Diddy, putting his hands on Cassie at the hotel room. Diddy's lawyer didn't appear concerned about his client being cross-examined about the shocking incident nor other explosive allegations, such as forcing women to have sex with male prostitutes and ordering Kid Cudi's car to be blown up. He has his story, and he has a story that I think only he can tell in the way that he can tell it in real time. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know, man. This stuff is getting very crazy. Diddy to testify and is eager to do it, and we'll see, man. As time goes on, a lot of this stuff can change, man. Diddy could change his mind, or the lawyers could change their minds, or because usually if you're a client, you want to go with what your lawyer tells you. But Diddy being Diddy, I don't think he's going to do that, man. Diddy's has had too much people bow to him and what he says, that if he wants to take the stand, he's going to take the stand regardless of what lawyer tells him not to do it. But continuing on with Diddy, he's screwed. I'm just going to let you guys know it's over for the diddler. I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen this amount of victims come out. Ever since Cassie in that first lawsuit and that settlement, wow, I would have never guessed this amount of people and this amount of lawsuits would have come. I haven't kept track of how many lawsuits actually came, but I'm willing to bet it's over 40 lawsuits of just individuals. But now there's going to be 120 more coming. The only thing I can compare this to is the Travis Scott Astroworld incident, where I believe it was 8 or 9 people got killed, and then a bunch of people got injured, and then a bunch of lawsuits happened. Now, as far as updates on that, I know some of them were settled. Some, people are still going to court, but that's like the only time in recent memory that I can remember where a lot of lawsuits were coming. But this is just insane. There is a lawyer that is filing 120 lawsuits, and it includes minors. Yes, minors. Jeffrey Epstein type of stuff. Let's go over the article. Diddy soon will be facing a barrage of new lawsuits accusing him of sexual assault, a Houston lawyer announced, including more than 24 from people who say they were minors at the time of the alleged incidents. Tony Busby gave a press conference on Tuesday, October 1st, to announce that he was filing 120 separate civil suits against the embattled mogul, along with multiple other people and entities from a variety of alleged offenses. Diddy, through his attorney Erica Wolf, told Hip Hop DX that he denies as false and defamatory any claim that he sexually abused anyone, including minors. The cases, Busby said, had a typical MO. Alleged victims were invited to a party and made to take a drink in 90% of the cases. The lawyer claimed that the drink was drugged and the plaintiff would be sexually assaulted and passed around among partygoers while others enjoyed the show. Afterwards, he alleged the victim was threatened in order to keep him or her quiet. You're sensing a common theme, and it involves some sort of drug, Busby said.
The wall of silence has now been broken, and victims are coming forward. Our team has had, at this point, more than 3,285 individuals contact us, with people claiming to have been victimized by Sean Combs. After vetting, we now represent 120 individuals who intend to bring civil claims in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs, as well as claims against many other individuals and entities that we will name as defendants as we file these individual cases. I expect that through this process, many powerful people will be exposed. Many dirty secrets will be revealed. We know what we are potentially up against. And as is always the case in situations like this, when a celebrity is involved, people can be downright mean and nasty. You would be shocked at the length fans will go, no matter the evidence to the contrary, to defend celebrities they love. I mean, there's a reason for this word fans. They're fanatics. I've personally already been threatened multiple times on social media. And when I agreed to pursue this, I expected as much. This isn't my first rodeo. But victims who step forward to have their voices heard should not be subjected to that kind of conduct. They should not be targeted.
The alleged assaults, he continued, occurred at events including after parties, album release parties, and Diddy's famous all-white parties. The plaintiffs, the attorney explained, were equally split between men and women, and 25 of them said they were minors at the time of the alleged acts, which range over a 25-year span from 1991 to this year. Some of the alleged assaults, Busby said, occurred at auditions. More than 55% of the plaintiffs, he noted, had filed reports to police or hospitals. He says he has pictures, videos, and texts that back up some of the victims' claims. Diddy will, the lawyer claimed, not be the only prominent person in the suits. Busby did not mention anyone specifically, but said the names that we're going to name are names that will shock you. We will find the silent accomplices. We will expose the enablers. That is insane. And they dropped a literal hotline that you can call if you've been abused by Diddy in any way. The lawyer's been threatened because of these lawsuits already, he says, and I don't know, man. I like the Diddy thing is crazy, right? All this stuff is happening with Diddy, but who is tied to all this stuff? That's going to be the question. That's going to be the interesting twist to all this, because even the lawyer is saying we have high, powerful names that have something to do with this. So that's something that I'm really interested in seeing. And of course, I think Diddy is going to throw those people under the bus. That's just my take on it. I mean, he's in his 50s right now. I don't think he wants to rot away in prison. I think he wants to reduce his sentence, whatever, if he gets actually convicted of all this stuff, which I think he will, certain aspects of it. He wants to reduce his sentence as much as possible. And I think he's going to throw people under the bus and expose as much as he can expose to save himself. Why wouldn't he? I mean, who are those other people that, he doesn't care? To him, I wouldn't care personally. If I was in that situation, hey, you guys join me. Hey, we did all this together, and I'm not going down for all this freaky stuff I did. What's crazy is Diddy's hired a whole team of new lawyers as well to add on to the lawyers that he has. Basically the dream team. Remember the O.J. Simpson thing, the dream team? He's added his own dream team. And he's looking to try to get another bond. He's trying to ask for bond again. So let's go over the article. Diddy has once again made an attempt to be freed from jail on bail amid major changes to his legal team. The Bad Boy Records founder has spent around 2 weeks at the notorious Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn since his arrest on September 16th on multiple charges, including sex trafficking and racketeering. Diddy has already been denied bail twice, but has made a third attempt in a new filing from his beefed-up defense team. The mogul has hired Alexandria Shapiro, no relation to famed defense attorney Robert Shapiro, and Anthony Rico, who joined his existing lawyer, Mark Anginifilo. Shapiro is considered one of the nation's leading appellate lawyers, while Rico has been involved in numerous high-profile cases, such as World Trade Center bombing. Diddy has so far been denied bail because prosecutors proved he is a danger, and has proposed $50 million bail package was insufficient, even on risk of flight. So I doubt he's going to get bail. But, hey, why not try after you got a huge legal team to defend you? But, hey, there's so much stuff happening in this Diddy situation that I don't know what's going to happen the next day. There's going to be more new lawsuits. There's going to be more people, especially with the hotline now to call. It's ridiculous. I mean, 50 even reacted to the stuff. And he was like, this is insane. Like, I've never seen anything like this, right? Look, this is what 50 had to say about the situation, right? The lawyer talked about the lawsuits, and 50 posted the actual lawyer talking. He said he is representing more than 120 people in new claims against Combs. What the fuck? They got a hotline, and they actually posted the number, which is typical 50 fashion. And he also posted of this guy who's an author of Kim Porter's book. Kim Porter is Diddy's ex, and 50 said he doesn't believe a word out of his mouth. He's like, usually y'all know I don't fuck with Diddy, but I don't believe a word out of this fool's mouth. Yeah, we don't know. I don't know what's going on. This is astronomical with all these lawsuits, but we'll keep our eyes posted and see what happens moving forward. The Young Dolph murder trial. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down. What happened in the trial? What is true? What isn't true? And what are the rumors that are floating around? Also, what happens to the other people that are accused of having something to do with murdering Young Dolph? What will happen to them? Let's talk about it. I covered this whole beef that happened with Yo Gotti, Young Dolph in my documentary, What Really Happened. So check that out. I'll leave a link in the description below. In that documentary, I don't talk about the deeply rooted stuff, the insane violence that's been going on, because you can't really prove any of that stuff. I just talk about what the artists themselves said the beef was about. So it's about the music, and it's about what the artists themselves said. I don't deep dive into theories of, did this person slide for this person, because I'm not in Memphis. I don't live the street life. I'm not going to assume things off of a Reddit post or what one person says. I just need solid proof in order for me to put it in a documentary. That's how I roll. I know other content creators do their thing and they'll put in theories and stuff. Cool. That's another, angle that you could take. But for me, I like, when I'm focusing on these beef videos, I like to talk about the facts and what can be proven. Yeah, do I explore here and there little things? Yeah, but I make it clear that this is a theory. This isn't anything that's facts. So check it out if you haven't seen it. That's, the story of how this whole beef even started if you have no idea how the situation even started. There are officially 3 people that are charged with the murder of young Dolph. One of them is a rapper by the name of Straight Drop, a.k.a. Justin Johnson. One is named Hernandez Govan, and the other is named Cornelius Smith. These 3 are charged with first-degree murder when it comes to the murder of young Dolph. On September 23rd, officially, the trial started. And the only person that was going to trial was Justin Johnson, a.k.a. Straight Drop. Because Cornelius Smith decided to testify against Justin, and Hernandez Govan was supposed to take the stand and testify against Justin as well, but he ultimately never showed up. There is also another person charged in this, but this person is not charged with first-degree murder and didn't have anything to do with the actual murder. This person is Justin Johnson's brother. He's charged with 3 counts of accessory after the fact, and he pleaded guilty on October 2023. He faces 6 to 12 years in prison. With this trial being about Justin Johnson, the focus was Justin Johnson one of the shooters, because Cornelius Smith is the other suspected shooter? And did Justin Johnson, have a motive to kill young Dolph? And that's what the prosecutors were trying to prove in the trial. And they did that successfully, because Justin Johnson, after the trial, got sentenced to life in prison. Mind you, Justin is only 26 years old. For the rest of his life, he's going to be in prison and have to suffer, never have freedom again over something very stupid. And the reason why it's very stupid is I'm going to explain the whole reason why, he murdered young Dolph. The whole story of the trial goes like this. Justin Johnson was an up-and-coming rapper by the name of Straight Drop. He was looking for a record deal. He was even seen in photos behind young Dolph. He was at events with young Dolph. He was ultimately at one point supposed to sign to young Dolph's label. That never ended up materializing. So I'm sure even that was a little, he had a little resentment towards young Dolph for that. But that's a whole different story. Regardless, he's an upcoming rapper, and he was looking for a record deal. Big Jook, who is Yo Gotti's brother, is somebody in Memphis that actually looks for upcoming talent to sign to Yo Gotti's label, CMG. So Big Jook is very tapped in Memphis in terms of who's an upcoming artist. Hernandez Govan, one of the people that are accused of murdering young Dolph, he is basically seen as the mastermind of coming up with this plan of bringing Cornelius Smith and Justin Johnson together to murder young Dolph. And how this happened is he knew that Straight Drop, a.k.a. Justin, wanted a record label deal. He knew Big Jook. They were close friends. So he basically offered Justin Johnson and said, hey, help us murder young Dolph, and we'll sign you to Yo Gotti's CMG label, and we'll give you some money. Now, it wasn't officially discussed how much the amount was, but Hernandez also saw this as an opportunity, as a come-up for him. Not only to get some money, but to also get a cut of Justin Johnson in terms of, like, when he starts to blow up, he'll be like manager, he'll get 10%, whatever the case may be. Because apparently in the trial, Hernandez missed out on a lot of opportunities to get up-and-coming artists and bring him to Big Jook to get cuts of that artist, of whatever they did in terms of revenue. So that was the motive for Hernandez Govan, money-wise, and to get a cut of the artist. And for Straight Drop, it was, hey, I can get a record deal and I can get some money. So that's how Hernandez Govan and Justin Johnson, a.k.a. Straight Drop, got involved in the murder of young Dolph. The crazy thing is Cornelius Smith, the only person to actually snitch and testify in this trial and be straight honest and just forward about the situation, he had no beef with nobody. He had no idea about Yo Gotti's beef with young Dolph. He could care less. He got involved in this because Hernandez Govan and Big Jook, who are close friends, were talking to each other and talking about potentially murdering young Dolph and seeing how they could set that up. And Cornelius Smith was a drug addict. How he became a drug addict was because he lost his son in 2020. And he says that spiraled him into taking, oxycodone, whatever type of pills that he could take to help him numb the pain. And he needed money to buy more drugs, and his plug that gave him the drugs was Hernandez Govan. So one day, Cornelius decides to show up to Hernandez Govan's place to buy more drugs. And Hernandez and Big Jook see him, and Hernandez talks to Big Jook and basically says, you know, this guy's like a drug fiend. I mean, I'm sure we can get him to join in to help us murder young Dolph. Big Jook was like, are you sure? Can we trust him? This and that. Yeah, I'll talk to him, blah, blah, blah. Hernandez talks to him, and Cornelius says, you know what? I'm in, man. It's a lot of money. I need some money. You know, I have an addiction to feed. Why not get into this and murder this guy? I have no idea who this guy is. I got no beef with him, but it's a come up for me, so why not do it? So ultimately, the conversation happened with Justin Johnson, Hernandez Govan, and Cornelius Smith alongside Big Jook, where they agreed that Big Jook would give them $100,000 to kill young Dolph. And the splits would be Justin Johnson would get a record label deal with Yo Gotti CMG and $40,000. Hernandez Govan would get $10,000 out of that because he wouldn't be the actual murderer. He would just be the one that's planning it. And he would get a cut of whatever Straight Drop got in terms of revenue when he got signed to Yo Gotti's label. And Cornelius Smith, all he got was the $40,000. That's all he would get out of the situation. And he would move on because Cornelius didn't really have, you know, ties or didn't want to be a rapper. He just wanted to get the money and that's it. And by the way, this is all testimony from Cornelius Smith, one of the shooters. So this is his side of the story of what exactly happened. After this conversation, it was all about where do we run into young Dolph? How do we get him? And the perfect opportunity arose during Thanksgiving week because he got killed during Thanksgiving week. And he was handing out turkeys every single day in Memphis. And they knew where the turkey drives were at. So what's a better opportunity than to get somebody when you know where their location is at? And they showed up to one of these turkey drives, Cornelius Smith and Justin Johnson, in their white Mercedes, and saw young Dolph in a bright yellow t-shirt and said, that's him, let's follow his car, which was the Corvette, the camo wrapped Corvette. They ended up following him. He stops by Makita's Cookies, and there's surveillance video footage of him going in there, pointing at some cookies, saying, I want to buy these. And the camera footage pans to the store owner, who is, ringing up the order that young Dolph had, and that's when young Dolph gets shot. And outside video camera footage shows, Cornelius Smith and Justin Johnson pulling up and spraying a bunch of shots. Dolph got hit a bunch of times and was basically killed on sight. The crazy thing that I didn't know was that young Dolph's brother was with him. Young Dolph's brother was strapped with a gun. He actually shot back, and Cornelius Smith said he was shot in the shoulder, arm, and leg. As far as Justin Johnson, I don't know if he actually got hit, but Cornelius Smith did. So young Dolph's brother, round of applause to him. He did his best to help in the situation. He actually went into the Corvette and pulled out a bigger gun, a Draco, and tried to shoot even more, but they just drove off at that point. Now, after the murder, Cornelius Smith needs help. Obviously, he's been shot. He can't just go to the hospital because it's going to look very suspicious. After a murder, you go to the hospital, the timing is just way too convenient, and it's going to be somehow tied to you. So the crazy thing is they go to some apartment complexes, and at those apartment complexes, there are cameras, and they catch, Cornelius Smith and Justin Johnson going there, and Cornelius Smith getting, aid work, attention. Justin Johnson has somebody pull up to him and give him basically a kit to help Cornelius Smith heal his wounds the best that they can. Following this, after the hit, Cornelius Smith testifies that Justin Johnson went on FaceTime call with Big Jook, a.k.a. Yo Gotti's older brother, and basically confirmed that they got young Dolph. And they did kind of sign language. They spelled out Dolph, D-O-L, P-H. And they said, hey, what's going to happen moving forward from here? And basically Jook said, hey, I'm with my kids right now. I can't do anything right now, but I'll get back with you guys later. Because obviously Cornelius Smith testifies that, I want my money. I did this thing. I need my money now. I want my $40,000. And obviously Justin Johnson wants his money, and Hernandez Govan want their money. So as the days go on, Cornelius Smith says he tries to get his money from Big Jook, but the only communication he has to Big Jook is obviously through Govan and Justin Johnson. He doesn't have direct communication to Big Jook. So he's constantly bothering Justin Johnson, And Justin says, hey, I have some money for you, a little bit. He ends up giving him $500. And in that $500 is actually a note from Big Jook. And that note basically says, hey, just wait. I'll get you your money. And then a little bit of time goes by as well. He gets another $300. And he's, at this point, mad because he's like, where's my money? You guys promised me $40,000. I've only gotten $800 out of the situation. And of course, as time's gone on, they eventually get locked up. So if it wasn't for Cornelius Smith testifying in court that all this stuff is true, then we probably would have never heard this side of the story of things. So as much as snitching is frowned upon in a lot of these situations in terms of, hip hop and stuff like that, I get it. But if it wasn't for him, snitching and testifying, we probably wouldn't have heard a lot of this story. And he basically said, listen, I'm going to jail anyway. I want to clear my conscience. I want to get it off my chest. He's like, now that I've sat in prison, obviously I regret what I did. I wasn't thinking clearly. I'm sure he was on some type of drugs as well. And when you're an addict, a lot of addicts, if it's extreme addiction, they'll do anything for some money. They'll kill people. It doesn't matter to them. So he regrets it. And he was like, I might as well testify and just tell people what the truth is and just get it out there. Even though a lot of people knew already that these two were involved way before the police caught him and knew that it had something to do with Yo Gotti's side of things. And the crazy thing out of all the situation was that Cornelius also talked about how Yo Gotti and his label hired a lawyer to defend Cornelius Smith. About $50,000 they paid. But ultimately that ended up not happening. But they offered $50,000 to defend themselves. Which is like, how is that? The question here is, how is that not going to be tied to Yo Gotti at one point? How is Yo Gotti not going to be investigated and eventually get locked up? I would not be surprised if that happens in the future. Because there's no way that your name could be tied to so many things like this and not have something happen to you. But we don't know. That's one of the questions that's up in the air. Will Yo Gotti actually get, somehow prosecuted for these things, somehow get charged with something? Now, Yo Gotti's older brother, Big Jook, did end up getting killed in the beginning of 2024 in January. He was actually attending a funeral, then went to a restaurant, got out that restaurant, got in his car got sprayed up, he got killed. So there are stories out there that when Dolph got killed, Dolph's side allegedly did a lot of murders towards Yo Gotti's side. They didn't just let that slide. They said, hey, you took our biggest fish, right? We're going to go over there and kill as much people we can on your side. This whole beef is a bloody, bloody battle. It's not something that's just straight rap. And you knew from the diss tracks that it was something very serious. You can just hear it in the tone of the music. And the crazy thing is Big Jook, would go on the internet and clown young Dolph for getting killed. He would laugh at these situations. He would be on Instagram Live just laughing at Dolph for getting killed. He would constantly disrespect him. And, doing that on the internet, man, and knowing that potentially there was a hit put out by him, people are eventually going to get back at you. It's just a matter of time. The karma is going to be returned and eventually you're going to get hit. And now he's dead. Because it would have been interesting to see if Big Jook was actually alive. Would they, based off that $100,000 hit, they had some proof to that, would they actually bring him in and prosecute him? That would be another thing that would be, that's lingering in the air. What would have happened if he was still alive? Would they actually charge him with things? But based off of Cornelius Smith testifying and what he said, a lot of it lines up as perfect. Justin Johnson's defense really didn't have a defense. I mean, they said, hey, they saw some footage of Justin Johnson or the white Mercedes at a gas station. They were saying, oh, you never saw Justin Johnson actually get in the car, so you don't know if it's him and this and that. But cell phone towers and all this stuff pinpointed basically at these locations. And it's like, you can't really deny that. But, his defense tried his best to, defend him and say, hey, he wasn't there at these situations. You can't really, say that it was really him. But I mean, if you're helping somebody get wounds fixed and, your cell phone towers pinpointed these locations, it's very hard to defend that. So that's the gist of the trial of what went down without really getting into, insane details. I mean, they talked about how many times, where Dolph was shot, his clothing they showed, and, just a bunch of stuff that I don't like talking about. And on top of that, it's just sad overall. So And other that type of stuff, police were talking about, what they saw at the murder scene and what they investigated and that stuff like that. But the main important things were, Cornelius Smith testifying because, he was actually one of the shooters, so he knows 100% what happened. And he said, "Hey, I just want to get it off my chest." And he regrets it. I'm sure he regrets it. He hasn't been sentenced yet, but the second the trial was over, all jurors found Justin Johnson guilty on all counts, and he's life in prison. It's over for him. Now, what happens to the other individuals? Now, Cornelius Smith and Govan are both facing charges of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and attempted first-degree murder. Both were originally scheduled to be tried at the same time as Justin Johnson. So they were all set to be tried and, have to deal with their sentencing. But because Cornelius Smith decided to testify, things changed and, all that happened. Court dates originally scheduled for Smith and Govan for September 30th were reset after the verdict. Smith will appear November 15th, and Govan is due back for a hearing October 9th. So I think Cornelius Smith is going to get his sentencing on November 15th. Now, during the trial, you said, "Hey, Cornelius, are you doing this to reduce your time?" Blah, blah, blah. He said, "No, I just want to get off my chest because people already know what the situation is, but I just want to confirm it for people because, it gives more peace to young Dolph's family, at least, to say that, hey, this is why we did it, blah, 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 confirmation 100%, instead of it being in there." So, at least you got to give him some respect for that, man, for being somebody that has a conscience and kind of, regrets what he did, obviously. But he's going to get sentenced. If he actually gets, doesn't get a reduced sentence or anything, he's going to get life in prison as well, which I think he's going to face that. I don't think, just because he testified, they're going to reduce his sentence. Maybe if he's lucky, they'll, give him some type of, they'll give him a lot of years and they'll eventually give him bail. They'll option for bail, maybe. I don't know. I highly doubt it. I think he's going to get life as well as Govan. He's going to get life in prison as well. And all their lives are basically done. I mean, Govan lived, at least he's in his 40s, so at least he got to live some of his life. But, yeah, it's over for all three of these guys. And the reason for murdering, Dolph is just stupid, man. $100,000 makes absolutely no sense. That money is not really, really insane, life-changing money. And on top of that, why would you go murder somebody without even getting at least half the money? Like, I would be like, listen, you're going to give me at least $20,000 if you want me to go to slide for this guy. Something. Because you're not going to promise me $100,000. I'm going to go murder somebody, and I don't even see a penny of that. I see $800 of that. That's the craziest thing out of this, is he only got $800. You killed somebody for $800. And that's no surprise, man. In a lot of these areas where people are just poor, they will murder for $100, $500. They don't care. Because one, they're either addicts or they just don't have they don't think long term. They just think, hey, I need money right now, and that's the situation. It's dumb, man. $100,000 just ruined, like that hit is the dumbest shit, man. It ruined a lot of possibilities. I understand that they had beef, Gotti's side and, Dolph's side, but at a certain point, man, they should have just somehow squashed it, man. It's not worth the senseless violence. And, now, Dolph's side has murdered a lot of people on Gotti's side. Now Gotti's side is going to retaliate, and it's a never ending thing. Gotti obviously has to move. Gotti has to move very, very, very militant because the target is on him as well. Same with Keegalok. Keegalok, though, is staying a lot of times in Atlanta. He actually got recently pulled over in Atlanta. There's video body cam footage. So Keegalok is not really staying in Memphis. That's the smart thing to do. Don't stay in Memphis. I mean, that's how Dolph got killed. Why would you go out to go get some cookies? Just, hey, with your brother, that's it. And he's the only person that got a strap. Doesn't make any sense. That's another way. Move smarter, man, especially if you're the golden geese that's laying these golden eggs. Don't just move, like that, man. But, hey, it is what it is. These individuals are garbage people for murdering somebody over nothing, basically. $100,000 is nothing, man. These individuals will blow that in 2 seconds, and it won't do anything for their lives. He said, Cornelius testified also that, that money, he wanted that money to give his daughter a great birthday. It's like, come on, man. You're using murder money, blood money to make your daughter happy. That makes no sense, man. My conscience wouldn't be able to live. But I mean, the people that have a conscience that would never do this stuff, we're normal people. These individuals, they're not normal, man. They think in a whole different way. They don't think long term. They don't think, with any type of logic. Is just, hey, money, murder, that's it. I need money. Let me murder this person. Let me get the money as quick as I can. And that's what Cornelius Smith testified. He's like, hey, I just wanted the money, man. That's all I cared about was the money. I have a drug addiction that I need to feed, and I have a daughter's birthday that I need to provide for. I need some money. And that's all this boiled down to, is a little bit of money like that. And we'll see what happens moving forward, man. I think Yo Gotti potentially, this is just my opinion, is somehow he's going to be tied into this and potentially get charged with something. That's my theory in this. I don't know. Because there's too many times Gotti's name has been brought up in this PRE, CMG war that's happened throughout these 10, 15 years. Because it's literally a war. Lots of people have been getting killed on each side. Now, am I blaming each side of the murders? No, but I mean, it's a tricky situation, man. Yeah, that's the essential breakdown of the murder trial. Everything else, we'll find out as the months go on of what they get sentenced with. And, we'll see what happens moving forward, man. I'm sure there's going to be, unfortunately, more deaths in this whole beef. And, people aren't going to stop, man. They're just going to get the retaliation, and it is what it is. It's a sad situation overall, man. A life lost for little money. Not a lot of money. But, yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward. Eve, a.k.a. Rough Riders, number one lady, first lady, has decided to sell her catalog. Yes, let's go over the article. Eve has sold the publishing rights to her entire catalog to a company which recently acquired another storied hip-hop library. According to Music Business Worldwide, Iconoclast issued a press release on Wednesday, August 25th, announcing the deal, which the source tells the outlet netted the Rough Rider rapper somewhere between $25 and $50 million. Including the purchase is Eve's 1999 debut album, Let There Be Eve, Rough Rider First Lady, which helped her become the third female rapper in history to reach number one on the Billboard 200. Eve became a defining voice in hip-hop, known for her lyrical prowess, dynamic flow, and unique fusion of rap and R&B influences, Iconoclast wrote in their announcement. The company also branded her a trailblazer. Gotti did that $300 million deal with them as well a while ago, selling 50% ownership stake in Murder Inc.'s masters. So yeah, shout out to Eve. Netted anywhere from $25 to $50 million. Like, people always talk about, why would they sell their publishing? That could go to their kids. Hey, if you got better ideas for the money, 25 to 50 million, get cash. Hey man, you can put that at S&P 500. You can do a lot of stuff with that stuff to invest it and flip it and make more out of it. Sometimes it's better to get cash right now while you're still alive and you can make business moves than, obviously you could fuck off the money too and it could be a bad move, but some people don't want to wait, man. It's something that these companies that are offering this type of money, they're not going to see the return on that money for years, probably 10. I don't know how much Eve makes publishing wise, right? But they're probably not going to see their money at least in 10 years until they finally are profitable, maybe 15 years. I don't know. I don't know what publishing actually, what certain artists demand on publishing. That aspect of music, I have no idea about. I'm not going to pretend to know, but I do know they make great residual income. So I would assume if a company invests that much money, they're expecting to eventually get a return on their investment and to start making profit, because this is lifelong type of thing. This isn't just, hey, for this moment, we own your publishing. No, we own it now. It's done. We gave you the money. We own it for the rest of this company's life, or forever long this company goes, we own it. So yeah, it's up to them, man. I think people who criticize these type of moves don't really know the business, and they act and pretend like they know. And I hate when I see comments like that. Oh, you're such a dumb artist. You should have kept your publishing. That can go to your kids, blah, blah, blah. Like people that have no idea about the back ends of this stuff. The number one sign about somebody who's not intelligent is when they speak on things they have no idea about, right? Now, you can research things, you can figure out, but most people don't research. Most people just comment and say dumb shit on the internet, and they have no idea. They'll comment all kinds of crazy things. Like I had somebody tell me how much views I was getting, how much money I was getting from my views on my YouTube. I think it was the Vlad TV incident with Marlon Wayans. I think Marlon Wayans was asking us for a certain amount of money, and Vlad was like, you only get this amount of views, so I can't do that, right? And I was talking with somebody on Twitter, And they were like, oh, but that's, this amount of money if you did this amount of views. I'm like, listen, for that amount of views, I think it was like 300,000. You wouldn't make the amount of money that Marlon Wayans was demanding. You would not make that money back. And he was arguing with me, and I'm a content creator who actually knows when I get a certain amount of views, how much money I make off those views. Now, is it consistent all the time? No. I mean, there's some documentaries I've done that are under 1 million views that have made more money than some documentaries that are over 2 million views, which is weird. I don't understand it, but it is that. Like, for an example, my Young Dolph versus Yo Gotti. What really happened? For some reason, that video is at 860,000 views. For some reason, that's made me way more money than anything. Like, I have some documentaries that have hit 2 million views that haven't made that kind of money on that documentary, which I don't understand. I don't know what the reasoning is for it. Who knows? I can't explain it. But you typically, with views, you typically know what you're like. You have a general basis, right? Depending on the length of the video, depending on how many views you get, depending on the time of its release, because there are some months where you make a lot less money and there's some months where you make a lot more. That's why if you see content creators in October, November, and December make a lot more content, because that's when the money's the highest at that point to make money off the content, right? So, if you see people taking a break in January and February, March, that's usually when it's the lowest when it comes to revenue, which you're going to make. Because think about it. October, November, December are holiday seasons. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. A lot of people spend time at home, watch content. A lot of people spend a lot of money on gifts and just Halloween and, stuff like that and just whatever. All these holidays and stuff. But, January, February, February has Valentine's Day. January doesn't really have anything in terms of spending money. Like, America's all about hype and spending money and getting people in these jolly themes. Obviously, a lot of video games start to come out in October, November, December. A lot of console, a lot of things in these type of months. Advertisers spend a lot more money, and that's where us as content creators, we make a lot more money in these type of months. So me going on this whole rant, I hope I give you a little bit of insight in terms of like content creation and how people make money. But usually, these are the months, October, November, and December, where people make a lot more money. And I typically know if I get this amount of views, this amount of money I'm going to make. Now, is it the same? Like I said, it is not always the same all the time. But shout out to Eve, man. Cash in on her publishing, 25 to 50 million. Crazy numbers. So round of applause to her, man. Good luck on her. And I hope she spends the money in good health and, sees a lot of great return on that money. Speaking of numbers and doing great, Lil Wayne has scored his second diamond. Yes, diamond single. And guess what the song is? All my bitches love me. Let's love me. That shit came out in 2013 with Drake and Future. And it just hit diamond status. The first diamond single was Lollipop. Like a lollipop. Shout out to Weezy, baby. He did Lollipop a while ago, and people were like, how is Lollipop? I think it was because I have a bunch of 50 fans, obviously, that follow me, and I'm a 50 fan myself. People were like, how is Lollipop diamond before In the Club? Well, In the Club came out in 2003 when singles weren't really selling like that. Albums were. Versus Lil Wayne's Lollipop, which came out in 2008 when singles were selling more than albums were, right? So that's why that's more diamond. But Lil Wayne's Love Me just went diamond September 30th, 2024. So he has 2 official diamond singles. Round of applause, Lil Wayne. Great look. I was genuinely surprised this song went diamond. Like, it's a great track, but I did not expect this song to go diamond. So Drake and Future. Future has 3 diamond singles. I think 2 now. Yeah, it might be 2. Let me see, actually, because I think after this is where he got 2. Because he has the one with Drake. Why am I forgetting the fucking name, bro? What is the song with Drake, man? The Life is Good. Yeah, Life is Good. And then, let me see, I'm going to type in Future. So, yeah, All My Bitches Love Me. Life is Good, and The Bitches Love Me Lil Wayne track. What's hilarious is both of these diamond singles have something to do with Drake when it comes to Future. So when Drake was talking about, I give you your hits, this is what he was talking about. He actually gives people their hits. And no disrespect, obviously Lil Wayne got his own hit with Lollipop, so obviously you can't say that Lil Wayne gets his hits from Drake. But yeah, round of applause to Lil Wayne. I was surprised by this going diamond It genuinely surprised me. Drake officially has become the artist who has the most diamond singles. I believe he has seven singles that are diamond, and Eminem has 6. So Eminem is still up there. But here's the thing. Eminem came out in an era where singles weren't really selling. Obviously, he had his second run in the 2010s. That's when singles were selling a lot more. So if you actually, let me see. I bet you if you look at Eminem's diamond singles and stuff, majority of them probably the ones that are like came out in 2010s, if I remember correctly. Curtain Call the Hits is a diamond album. But see, Love the Way You Lie, that came out in the 2010, right? So that, like, Not Afraid, 2010, another diamond single. That's what I'm saying. So a lot of his earlier stuff before the 2010s, we're talking 2004 and before he had that break, you know, and then he came out with Relapse. They're not really there, you know, in terms of diamond because, you know, no disrespect, but, you know, back then they weren't selling diamond singles. iTunes wasn't a thing where you could buy singles. That started happening in 2002, I believe, or 2001, and people didn't really adapt to it till probably, I want to say, 2005, 2006, that's when it slowly started to become like more of a thing and people were buying singles a little bit more, but it wasn't like astronomical, right? Like it was slowly. I remember my friend back in 2005 had iTunes and he was showing me, yeah, you can buy, you know, individual singles and blah, blah, blah. And it was like 99 cents at the time, but it wasn't like a norm. You were still buying albums back then, but that's why Eminem has a lot more diamond albums than, you know, Drake does. I don't think Drake has a diamond album yet. Drake, Take Care can go diamond if it wants to. It's available to go diamond, but it hasn't. So until it officially goes diamond, then he has his first diamond album. But streaming also has made things a lot more easier. You know, the more accessible music is, obviously, the more people are going to be able to listen to it and enjoy it and stuff. So the numbers are going to be there with streaming. But yeah, round of applause to Lil Wayne, man. Great 2 diamond singles. Drake becoming the most diamond artist so far in hip hop. Round of applause. Future getting his second one. Really, really dope. But yeah, I was just surprised. That song blew me out the water in terms of like, what the fuck? I was not expecting that. New music. Let's get into it. The Weeknd and Playboi Carti dropped Timeless. T Grizzly and J. Cole dropped Blow for Blow. I love this J. Cole verse. And this actually T Grizzly did his thing as well. Round of applause, T Grizzly. I think they both match each other really well in this track. I love J. Cole and his flow in this thing, but the bars of him talking about, you know, I'm the best and any rapper step up to me, I'll cook them. It's hard to believe. I can't take serious, right? Because of the Kendrick Lamar apology. Now, I know people on Twitter were like, why are you saying that, Quake? That's unfair. That's a really weird way of looking at it. I did the same thing with Lil Wayne. When he said I'm the best rapper alive and people were challenging him about that, I don't, if you're going to say that, prove it. J. Cole had an opportunity, which I know the Kendrick and Drake thing got really ugly, right? Kids were involved, families. But J. Cole had a great opportunity just to spar with Kendrick Lamar. I don't think the J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar thing would have got really ugly. I really don't. I think them two, they were friends at one point, really close. I think they would have sparred really well with each other, and they would have moved on from the situation. Now, the Drake and Kendrick thing, they were never really friends. You know, in the beginning, they were a little buddy-buddy, but after the Control verse, it just went to hell, and they never liked each other after that. So I can't listen to J. Cole talk about, I'll cook a rapper, I'll slice him, this and that, whatever he says in the verse, because I can't really take it serious. Now, everything else I enjoy from J. Cole, but this best rapper talk, prove it. You had a chance to prove it to go against the top 3, Kendrick, Drake, and Cole, and you ducked it. So same with Lil Wayne. So I don't want people to hear, oh, Quake, why are you giving J. Cole bullshit? No, it's the same shit with Lil Wayne. When he said best rapper alive, 50 was challenging him. Jay-Z had some issues with him. I don't know whatever issues other people had with Lil Wayne, but people were trying to battle Lil Wayne, and Wayne ignored all of them. But if you're gonna say you're the best, prove it. And somebody threw an Eminem theory at me. Why? What about Eminem? Eminem, yeah, he talks about being the best, but he's never he's never said, I'm the best rapper and period. That's it. Like, he talks about it, but Eminem, he's had his, you could also throw that towards Eminem a little bit here and there, but I mean, Eminem is more like, nobody really directly has gone at him. The J. Cole and Kendrick thing is a direct. 50 and going against Wayne, that was a direct thing. Jay-Z was more subliminal, but kidnap your wife, whatever fuck the bars were about that. That's another thing that you could pinpoint towards Lil Wayne. Regardless, even if you don't have anybody to battle, if you're saying you're the best, if anything pops up, you need to be the first one to fire and not duck any smoke and no subliminals. But, I appreciate J. Cole still. I'm still excited for the album, regardless of what he says in there. DaBaby dropped How the Fuck Is This a Mixtape, which is an album. Moneybagg Yo dropped Speak Up Now or the Deluxe. Young Thug and Nigo dropped Dope Boy, Tory Lanez Prison Tapes, which is 2 songs. Bia and Lil Yachty dropped Pissed Off. The Kid Leroy and Gunna dropped Baby I'm Back, the remix. And that's it for new music. Now let's get into album sales. Let's see what is selling out here in these streets. I'm sure Taylor Swift is somehow number 1, but we'll see what Future did in numbers with his project. Future debuted at number 1 with Mixtape Pluto. Round of applause at number 1. 129,000 sold the first week. Chappelle Roan, The Rise and Fall of Midwest Princess is number 2 with 118,000 sold. Sabrina Carpenter, Short and Sweep, number 3 with 97,000 sold. Number 4, Post Malone, F1 Trillion at 54,000 sold. Number 5, Morgan Wallen, One Thing at a Time, 53,000 sold. Number 6, Taylor Swift, The Tortured Poets Department, 46,000 sold. Billie Eilish, Hit Me Hard and Soft, number 7 with 44,000 sold. Katy Perry debuted at number 8 with 143 with 44,000 sold. Lil Tecca debuted at number 9 with Plan A with 42,000 sold. Noah Khan's Stick Season number 10 with 37,000 sold. SZA SOS number 13 with 29,000 sold. Going down the list, Eminem, The Death of Slim Shady, number 23 with 22,000 sold. Future, Metro Boomin, We Don't Trust You, number 25 with 20,000 sold. Drake, For All the Dogs, number 38 with 17,000 sold. Kendrick Lamar, Damn, number 41 with 16,000 sold. Eminem, Curtain Call, number 44 with 16,000 sold. Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City, number 48 with 15,000 sold. Let's get into the Billboard Hot 100. Shaboozey is still number 1, man. This guy is not moving from the number 1 spot. This is probably the longest number 1 I've witnessed in a while, man. A lot of these spots haven't moved in the top 10. There's only been 2 songs that moved. So Shaboozey, A Bar Song, still number 1. I Had Some Help with Post Malone, Morgan Wallen, still number 2. Espresso, Sabrina Carpenter, still number 3. Good Luck Babe, Chappelle Roan, still number 4. Die With a Smile, Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, still number 5. Birds of a Feather, Billie Eilish, still number 6. Lose Control, Teddy Swims, still number 7. Please, 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 Sabrina Carpenter, still number 8. Taste, Sabrina Carpenter actually went down. Actually, Please, 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 and Taste, they swapped places. Ooh, so Sabrina Carpenter swapped her own songs. And Kendrick Lamar, Not Like Us, is at number 10 still. That's insane, man. Going down the list, Future, his mixtape is debuting a couple of songs on here. So Teflon Don, Future debuted at number 21. Too Fast, Future debuted at number 23. Lil Demon, Future debuted at number 25. Ski, Future debuted at number 26. Pluto Ski debuted at number 29. TGIF, Glorilla, number 33. SZA Saturn, number 36. Like That, Future, Metro Boomin, Kendrick Lamar, number 39. Ready to Cook Up, Future debuted at number 42. Ocean, Future debuted at number 46. All Red, Playboy Cardi, number 51. South of France, Future debuted at number 57. Brazier, Future debuted at number 59. Press the Button, Future debuted at number 61. Surfing a Tsunami, Future debuted at number 63. Houdini, Eminem, number 66. 101 Gunna, number 67. MJ, Future debuted at number 68. Whiskey Wispy, Moneybagg Yo, and Morgan Wallen, number 69. Oath, Future debuted at number 70. Yeah, Future got his whole project debuted on here, so that's really cool. Say Gang, Future debuted at number 80. Told My, Future number 81. These are all debuts. Lost My Dog, Future number 83. Made My Hoe Faint, Future number 85. Hold On, Glorilla debuted at number 86. She's getting ready to drop her album pretty soon here. Prove It, 21 Savage, Summer Walker, number 95. And Drake, Circadian Rhythm, number 99. Interesting. And that's it for today's episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast. As usual, appreciate you guys for supporting Spotify, Deezer, Pocket Cast, YouTube, all that. Have an amazing night, day, whenever you listen to this, and peace.